All right, well,
Hi, we're trying this again.
we are trying this again.
I'm not sure so it'll just show up if it's live, so not sure what's going on.
So, we're going to give this a go. They can see you, so you can talk, please.
Oh, we are just writing a quick note on Facebook to see if we can pull some people back in. No worries, we're trusting the process right now. I'm not sure what this beautiful opportunity is giving us right now, and we know that there is one. Patience is definitely a component, right? There we go. Looks like we have some people already, so something's already working much better. So wow, welcome back. Again, checking in. Don't know if I want to dive into anything until we've settled for a second. Trying to let some people know that we're back, we're live. It's Monday. Ready for a week. Another beautiful week. Hopefully more beautiful weather. Ready?
Yeah.
Okay.
So it could be the internet, you don't know.
I know.
So take two, because that other video is already up on YouTube. So the first part.
I don't know. We couldn't even find it, right? Like it wasn't even there, coming there. Say it again.
Amy said it was there already.
Okay. All right.
So yeah,
let's come back. So the Indigo Doors, we kind of talked about our name in the other video.
Just the path of power and how we, it's such a, so how did we start? I guess, why did we start this? Like from such a young age, we had such an awareness. Our awarenesses were a little different, obviously. But, we knew things, we could see through people and know why they, from a very young age, we could see right to the heart of them, right? That's how I would describe it.
Yeah, I mean, for me, it started out like kind of knowing things were going to happen before they did, understanding people in a way that I didn't realize was different, right? So I would be like, well, what about this? And what about that about you? And they would go, well, how do you know that? How do you know things like that? I didn't think anything of being aware of those unseeable things. I know for me, when I was younger, it was all about the emotions. I was all about feeling, and really had the opportunity to look at a lot of the belief systems because of my experiences in this culture that really didn't want us to go there. It was all about, stop it. And I'm like, how do I stop doing that? Like, this is me. I'm incredibly emotional and I like it. Right. So just being aware in those experiences, like I feel like that molded me to be so passionate about it's okay to feel like we need to be safe and we need to expand into that, because in that emotional space for me is just so many beautiful gifts about our true selves, about power, about everything, about our purpose, right? Our life purpose. So, yeah. And we obviously are sisters. I mean, most of you already know that, but we grew up together. We had similar experiences. I mean, actually, we had similar experiences, but had totally different experiences in those experiences, which is fascinating, right? So allowing ourselves to be like, this is what it was like for me, and this is what it was like for me. And I'm like, wow, I missed that part. I didn't even notice. And she's like, I missed that part. I didn't even notice, right? So allowing ourselves, even helping each other expand and grow in that way, that's why I think that's why we feel called to do this for others too.
Yeah, I feel like that is one of the most important things is, we always knew, even from a very young age, that we were here to do something big, right? We were children, so of course it's a little grandiose. But we knew that we were going to work together. And it wasn't in a romantic, not romantic, like, oh, we're going to work together someday. It's going to be so great as sisters and da-da-da-da-da. It was more like just more of a prophetic kind of thing, because we didn't necessarily grow up in the Brady Bunch home or anything. We've had our own struggles and issues coming from our past. So, being enlightened or more aware in that kind of environment, kind of wreaked havoc. And I know that we help a lot of people in similar situations, but why we chose to work together, it's kind of like we didn't really have a choice.
Yeah.
But I feel like it's
because I do feel like we have a choice.
We have a
right?
choice.
The path of power is knowing that you definitely have a choice, and just taking responsibility that really we didn't really question that so much. We really do have this knowing that like, we're together for a reason. We know that we came into this lifetime together in the same family to help each other out and to help everyone else too. We have a knowing of that.
And I feel like it's also just proof of just saying whatever. Life is easy. Whatever is meant to be is going to be.
Mm-hmm.
Like yeah, I do feel that way, to where it's like, there's no effort having to work with each other because we just feel drawn and it's a natural thing.
Yeah.
But what I wanted to say is part of the reason why thank you, Amy. You're beautiful too. Part of the reason why we are doing this together is because the duality of that, where I have experiences from my childhood, let's say, that she didn't recognize or had the opposite experience with. So we had to, at a very young age, recognize and have compassion for, because we did love each other, right? And there was something about our connection. Well, I mean, just saying that was not in question, right? So it's like, that was a fundamental thing. So it was like, oh, who's this weird creature? I love her, and she's having an opposite experience than me. What is that about? Like, is that a thing? So, and I feel like that's how we teach. Like, her and our energy are so different, and even how we see is so different. Even how we heal is so different, right? So it's, I feel like in that way, it's such a powerful combination of why we do this work together, because it's like even though we're full circles independent of each other, because we go about things so in such opposite ways, it's almost like a fuller circle of power, right? So in that way, some people that resonate, that really are understanding what I'm saying, will eventually get to a space where they need to or want to really understand where Brenda's, but they might need me as the doorway, right? The doorway into what it is that Brenda and I are holding energetically. And same thing with Brenda. People start off working with Brenda and, will eventually come to me, when they're ready. And it's, don't you feel like that? It's like such an interesting, like figure eight in a way. Because we're holding an energy together in, spirit. We've been trying to figure that out forever. Like, why are we working together? Why don't we just independently or individually just have our own practices? Because we do offer different things, right? And it's that wisdom of knowing that she's holding an aspect of it that I'm not holding. And so, like, we need her, I need her, right? And
vice versa, right? Like
same
Wendy holds, her wisdom, her magic. And that's true for all of us, right? We each have a unique skill set, and we're not meant to fit into any molds. So taking responsibility for that is incredibly powerful when you have two people show up with the same intention, the same commitment, the same love. It really is just so powerful. And I know that my words at this time are not going to identify that because I don't even totally understand it. I know it's multidimensional. I know that together we affect the frequency of a space, and you can feel it when you're with us, and we love it. We love what can transpire when we're together. And it really does take out maybe some of that human experience of needing validation. I mean, because we have it instantaneously. Yep, I totally got that too. And so we can both just go, yeah, right. This is what feels right for me. We invite you to try it on. And so there isn't some of that human worry maybe or doubt. That's one of the things I like about us being together too. So talk about taking out the hierarchy, and believe me, neither one of us is going to go, oh, you're better than me. Oh, we're like, nope, I love you. You're absolutely amazing.
We're sisters,
and there's
right?
Exactly. There's no hierarchy. And it really is such a beautiful thing to model because we feel that way. And not only do we feel that way, but we have the wisdom of that, right? The mastery of knowing that.
And I feel like even as teachers, teaching that, like, because we see so differently, we understand the multifaceted, like, aspect of seeing, right? Or being psychic, or even being a healer, and what that is, and how it has so many different faces depending on who you are as the individual. We know that, we've mastered that, we get that. And so we help teach that, because so many people are like taught there's one way to heal, or there's one way to see, and there's one way to do this. And that's just not true. That's just not true. It's like saying there's one way to paint a picture, right? I mean, hello.
Not even possible.
Not even I couldn't even create the same painting, because it's in a different time and space, right? The same painting over and over again. It would be different.
Yeah, I really wanted to talk about, we opened in the other video about why we do this, and the opening of many doors. So the many pathways of helping people get to their full potential. And for me, I want to use some words to define that. And for me, that means remembering who you really are. And that, I feel like we opened with that. We opened the business with like helping people remember who they really are. Because I remember who I am. I remember choosing my parents. I remember being on the other side of the veil. I can remember it. I can remember helping other souls. I can remember being here in these physical human experiences. I remember that, and I know that I'm not the only one. And even if you don't like remember it in the thinking stuff, you're going to feel something, or you're going to have this activation of something, and it's a remembering of your magnificence, of your deservability and your worthiness. And so much of this humanness, it seems sometimes we're in that unworthiness. Moving through it to remember the innate, I want some great words here and they're just not coming, but to just remember how loved you are, how infinitely valuable you are, and within every fiber. I mean, this is not something that you can just convince yourself of. It's a knowing space. Let's remember who we are. That's like my tagline. I want that. Like the Indigo Doors, remember who you are. I don't know. That was just important to me. I wanted to, in the shower when you're showering, or, you're busy doing stuff, like these things come to you. That was one of the ones I really wanted to pull through. It was.
Yeah, I mean, I really appreciate that about you, how you really do love to, go into those spaces. She can really help you, whether you know her or not, but she can really help you go to those spaces that you might not even know how to get to, but those spaces within yourself, because this is powerful, right? Those spaces within yourself that are dark and are shameful, or are in pain. Those spaces within yourself that you're behind a locked door, and it's a little part of yourself that's dirty and neglected.
To some extent, this culture, like we're taught not to go there. We're taught to avoid. We are taught to deny those beautiful parts, right, when that's really the pathway to remembering, to your magnificence. Yeah.
And she does that in such a profound way, where makes you feel safe enough to do it. And it's like almost like she helps bring enough love for you to do it. So I do. You're very gifted in that way.
Thank you. Thank you very much. I feel the same way about you, though.
Really?
Yeah, I do.
I mean, it's so funny, what you think you teach people and then what you do teach people, right? Because I think that's the ego. I think I'm teaching people this, but you have no idea what it is that you're teaching anyone ever, right? Because you could be like, I'm actually teaching them painting. And though you might be teaching them painting, you could be inspiring them just to be comfortable in their own skin, right? Like there's really no way. So that's where,
trust comes into
so
play,
about
safety,
just
yeah,
your relationship with self, and just be you always. But what I was trying to say is what I would like to think I was teaching people, or how I feel, is like having no attachment to identity. Because in that space, you can, the possibilities are
Exponential.
Right.
Yeah.
Because I feel like I do that in my own life. I have and that's how we grow. We have to allow ourselves to change or even become who we are. We have to have no attachment to
expectation is
expectation or identity of who we were in the past or in helping with that. But, really, if you guys have questions,
yes, please ask
even if it's about our dog because he's so cute or
Blue is really cute. Now it's really cute too. They're sisters, sister and brother.
But even about what we're saying, it's pretty heady, but
it's who we are. It really is who we are. We wanted to talk a little bit about what shifting into the new paradigm. So we've kind of launched this concept that truly has been in the making since we began this business. And it is about shifting into a new way of being. It is some of the how to be all the things that we're pulling through, how to remember, how to know your magnificence, how to move through unworthiness or anger or whatever arises, right?
Yeah. I mean, I feel like to understand what shifting into a new paradigm is, you have to understand what the word paradigm is. So
absolutely.
A paradigm it's a multifaceted concept where it is an embodiment of like cultural ideals. It could be a way of thinking, but it's going to be your way of thinking, your behaviors that are attached to it. And it's so rooted. It's like a paradigm. And some of those things are already shifting, like a paradigm in our culture would be hierarchy, right? I mean, that's a paradigm that exists so embedded everywhere in our thinking. We're not even aware of it. So it's like a paradigm really is like this almost subconscious constructs of our reality.
Conscious too, though, like to me, right?
Conscious,
like
unconscious.
There is an awareness of some of it,
So a new paradigm and shifting that you can imagine the endeavor that would take, right? But this is all an internal shifting, that we're talking about because we know with wisdom and power that, we're shifting internally, we are going to affect our outer reality.
Exactly.
And that's why we really are self-centered, self-centered focused, kind of self-love focused. And so these new paradigms are that's the old paradigm that we're moving out of, where we're competing, we're fighting, gender, race, like all of those are in a hierarchy
of
system.
Our identities, right? Like expanding beyond all of that and really setting us all free into this miraculous way of existing. It's time for heaven on earth. It's time to be free. It's time to feel safe. It's time to feel loved every moment of every day, no matter what is arising, whether it is frustration or anger or feeling overwhelmed. There's still an element of love that is allowed to be present, that allows us to sail those tumultuous waters that we're in right now. And we were really excited because it was really only a handful of months ago that Spirit was like, okay, it's time. And we were like, oh my God, really? Okay, yes. And then, of course,
it's time to start teaching this. Yeah.
Right. It was time to start teaching it.
And I feel, sorry, can I shoot?
No, yeah.
Another paradigm, it is the hierarchy, as much as it's getting things outside of ourselves. That's the old paradigm of something, whether it's connection with God, getting love outside of ourselves and validation outside of ourselves, right? Those are all the old paradigms. The new paradigm is like satisfying all of those needs within us, reconnecting with God within and understanding that it was always he or she or it or whatever has always been here. And it's meant to be cultivated in this space, in our hearts, within ourselves.
Yeah.
And I feel like that's shifting relationships and marriages. And this is the new paradigm. Like, how do I take care of my own needs and not rely on my partner? Because they can never make me feel better about my own insecurity. That is impossible, right? So it's shifting that, right? We're shifting into these new concepts and ideas, and that will change the entire structure of the entire world. Yeah. So that's why we're so excited about this, right?
Yes.
Of what's happening on the planet, this awakening that's happening on this planet. Like, we're in amazing, awesome times.
Yeah. No, it's so exciting. And, Amy mentioned something, I think it was the other video, because I'm not seeing the words there, but so important that, you and I we admit and we kind of model some of that. And that's so important to us because we are on this journey with you. We are. And we love it. We love it. We know it works.
Yeah. And just, I feel like that's shifting into a new paradigm too. I feel like there's a lot of people, and these are my things that are coming to my mind right now, but people in power, and I talked about this in other videos, people in power, even a teacher like us or whatever, we're not allowed to have any faults, right? We're not allowed to have any missteps. Like when Mother Teresa passed and they found in her diaries that she actually had doubt, they didn't even want to give her a saint, make her a saint because she had doubt, and it reminds me of that. Like that is a process of the human being, or whether you're Christian or not. This has nothing to do with my upbringing, but even, Jesus having doubt right when he was passing on the cross, right? And having doubt again, right? Of how have you forsaken me, whatever. This is part of being a human being, and how do we traverse that, right? And I feel like it's a huge disservice, and that's the whole, like, we're on a pedestal, or we're putting these people on a pedestal, and we need them to not have weaknesses or something. But that is such a reflection of where we're at in our growth, because we must see our own weakness as a bad thing.
And I invite you to remember how powerful it is when we stand up and we do something anyway, even though we're scared, even though we're unsure or we're afraid of what other people might think. It is such a powerful place to be. And that's what you've said is your passion, is like helping people come back to power. That means my doubt, it comes with me. It stands with me. And I love it as much as I love all my other parts. And then on top of that, like pulling through and remembering that by choosing love when I'm being confronted and holding my fear could have a voice. I could give it control. And I say, I love you, fear. No, I choose love. That is power. That is so much better, in my opinion, than being perfect. There is no such thing. There never has been, and there never will be. It is such an innocent.
It's like understanding the wisdom in the perfection and imperfection. It's the paradox, but that's power, right? That's love.
Right. The perfect is really knowing the imperfection, is accepting, and like,
Like, what is that one? The bubbling is beautiful.
Bumbling is beautiful. I don't know.
I don't know.
Is it like a saying, like a meme, or okay? I don't know.
Yeah.
Sounds perfect. Sounds good.
Sounds perfect.
All right. So what about shifting into the new paradigm for you? How is that?
What do you mean?
Living this way. Like, we've always acknowledged that we go about things a little differently. Did you want to add anything else to that? I know I kind of jumped in about.
No, just moving through that, and how that is uncomfortable. That is an uncomfortable space. Meaning, even the brain. I'm definitely a little bit more in the head space. It's a weird concept. Even like, because we hold on to these ideas so strongly, right? So it's like even the idea that, no, you're not supposed to have doubt. Like if you're a saint, you should never have doubt, right? Or whatever, right? So the brain is like uncomfortable, like, huh? Really? It's okay to have doubt? So that's what this new paradigm feels like. And then for the brain, right? It's like, huh? So we help people kind of navigate that, like what it feels like mentally, and then even what it feels like in the body. Like, even from a healer perspective, like, just knowing if you're so used to imbalance, that feels like balance to you.
Mm-hmm. The habit of that.
Right? Like, hey, I'm standing on one leg. Yeah, this is what standing is. I'm standing on one leg. And you're like, not even aware that there might be straining one leg, right? Like, this is like a metaphor, right? So it's like, whatever. So, and then you realize, and we're teaching you that, no, you have two legs, and you stand, you're like, oh, this is weird. It feels weird. It feels weird to stand on 2 feet, right?
Yeah.
And that's kind of this metaphor for these new paradigms. Is like we're showing you of things that you might not even be aware of. You're used to the old way, right? But this will actually create a lot more movement for you, and honestly, happiness, and like an expansion of who you are in such a beautiful, profound way. So.
Yeah, no, in full disclosure, I'm going to confess here, which I may have told some of you already. I didn't like being different.
Oh, we're going here.
We're going here because this has helped me know how and why I wanted to teach this. Because in reconciling being different, that I'm not gonna lie, sometimes would yell at God about, God, why did you make me this way? Other people who believe in you don't think like this, don't see like this, don't feel like this, meaning that it didn't feel very loving to me always. So I really was like, you cursed me. You know, there was some drama there. It's okay. I love myself. I love all of my parts. And so reconciling that, going, okay, you know, because of course I talk to myself and I talk to God, and God says, you know, Brenda, do you think these things don't exist? Is there unseeable things in your world? And I'm like, yeah, of course. And then it's this quietness of like, okay, let's sit with that. Is there energy in everything? Is there a frequency of your beautiful bodies, of your emotions, of the trees? And I'm like, yeah, of course. Well, Brenda, it exists. Whether they're aware of it or not, it exists. You have a knowing within yourself and you can see it. And I've given you the gift to take that seeing and heal, to repair, because everything is repairable on your planet, within your beautiful bodies, within your souls. Everything is repairable. And so, like, embracing this concept and reconciling that with me was just this piece of like, oh, it's okay. Because it's that hierarchy, it's this system of functioning that if they don't believe it or they don't know about it, I'm making this really general comment, that's okay. I can love myself enough and I can love them enough through all of it. It's okay. And what a beautiful experience of allowing all of ourselves to have these differing experiences, differing opinions, different concepts. So for me, like, part of that is like allowing others to develop that skill set that, I mean, I feel like we're not even talking about that. Like, we are wanting to help you see in a multidimensional way, just not in a 3D concrete way. And so for some people, it is about feeling. You can feel through seeing, or you can sense things. Like, we do help with that. That's what we want to do. Speaking with power, that is different than talking at. You can feel the difference. Like, you know, so this class to me is about these unseeables. I don't know, am I making any sense?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
So yeah, we have a class that kind of goes through this process.
Yeah, which we're
depending on where you've come.
We're going to expand and, you know, build that into other things. I just know that that's coming. And I feel like shifting into the new paradigm, like whether you're seeing us for individual sessions or group sessions, like that's all that we're ever doing is this shifting into the new paradigm. We're naming what's on people's maps. We're healing, you know, what needs to be healed, repairing it. Right? I mean, like everything really, we could call our business shifting into the new paradigm. I don't know. No, I like her name. I'm joking.
Do you guys have any questions in regards to that?
Yes. Are there any questions? I thank you all for coming back and checking out the second live round. God, I'm not sure what happened that first time. We trust.
Just making sure.
All right. Anything else you wanted to add about you, about me? I mean, I was kind of hoping you'd talk a little bit about channeling, you know, your artwork and how you're recognizing that they're portals and maps for people and activations.
Okay, I can talk about that. I always known that I wanted to bring in new information, and that's something that I intuitively have said to myself.
You talked before about different you are.
Brenda?
Okay.
She's weird.
Well, no, I mean, I think it's a good question for both of us, right? Like, we are different, right? We really do have an awareness of what thoughts even that we think in ourselves, like it starts sending this message out that we can pick up on. We can hear it, we can feel it, right? Like some of that.
Yeah, I mean, I would say how different from each other.
Oh, got it. Thank you. Well, when you go into that, and then, like, 'cause I think that you'll see some of it right there. You want to bring in through new information.
Yeah, I want to bring in new information, and I know I'm meant to.
And I know I'm meant to bring through new ways of doing things, new ways of being. And we need the information. And we also need to know how to be it. Right? We can't just exist in our intellectual space. Anyway, sorry. I get excited. So bringing through new ideas.
Yeah, so just bringing in new information. So sometimes I don't necessarily even understand what I'm doing, because I feel like as a channel, you have to stay open. So there are things or paintings that I'll bring in that are like not even meant for that time, and then like a year later we'll like understand the painting, because it's matching a frequency that isn't yet in my own awareness or my own consciousness or even on the planet yet, and then it shows up. So I definitely can tap into different ideas. I use my consciousness and intention to kind of tap into different streams, if that makes sense, or channels, or like radio channels, right? But and then I just kind of stay open and I bring it in, and then I translate it, so I sit with the painting and let it talk to me, and in that way they're energetic kind of portals, to help people kind of relate to that frequency, and then I do that for people individually too, so like their higher selves or their soul purpose, so that painting itself kind of holds those frequencies, and it is meant to kind of change with the person as well, meaning like this is the energy or frequency they need to get there sometimes, and then even within the painting it'll be a higher frequency that they can't see yet until they've grown and expanded into that kind of frequency. I do love like math and science. So to me, my paintings represent kind of how things are working in the unseen realities, right? Or the other dimensions of like, no, there is a science to enlightenment. There is a science to transmuting or changing a negative thought to a positive one, right? We're just beginning to understand the science behind what that does to the cells, right? What that does to the body over time, like right, what sound does at a certain frequency to cancer cells, right? We're beginning to, the science is catching up with some of these metaphysical ideologies, and my paintings will help me understand some of those things that I haven't discovered yet in books and things. So in that way, I love that, like this being on the outer edge of society, I guess, in some ways, but kind of being avant-garde in that way, because that's, right when it's coming in, like we all are open to this information. And so I just consciously choose to be a part of that, and consciously choose to bring it in for others. I mean, and I love that in the creative space, it's such an open space, and it has to be. It's kind of like the divine heart, where it's a combination of the divine masculine and feminine creativity itself, if you choose it to be, right? Everything has frequency. So the only way that I can continue to bring in information that's at a high frequency is for me to continue to do the work. Right? I have to continue my channel, which is my being, my body. I have to make sure that, right, my thoughts and I'm healing physically, and which healing to me is just shifting my frequency, right? And expanding and bringing in more of my higher self, so then I can bring in more of this information that's technically, in a scientific way, at a frequency. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it does. No, and I just to validate.
I mean, right there, that's the difference. What I was just speaking and how Brenda speaks, that's where I live, and that's what I love. Yeah. And a lot of the times, and I feel like that's where I'm really different, many people can't understand what I'm saying. So in that way, I feel a little isolated, but I feel like I need to be, so it's okay. I love it. So
I don't know if it's that we can't understand what you're saying. We're just like, wow, like you really get the science of that? Okay, that's so cool, right? We're just in awe of it. I wanted to validate though, like, because I know that you've painted some pictures for me throughout our years together, and they really have always helped me hold my intentions, to help me choose me. So to me, it's like, I like to talk about and live in the unseeable. Like I want to live there. I want to live in this emotional space where it's safe and it's peaceful and loving and powerful, and you paint it. And so if I'm moving through something, Wendy will intuitively like, oh, hey, I was guided, you need this painting. And I'm like, oh my gosh, thank you so much. And so then I can just put it up, and it's this visual like portal of like, yes, I'm moving through this, and I choose this. I choose me. I choose my highest potential. And I mean, like, I feel like that's just a really important piece where you know.
Right. Like where they are sacred objects.
Mm-hmm.
And sacred objects is almost like a lost art form, I think. And I feel like, that's something that we're reclaiming. How do you create a sacred object, right? And it is with intention and ceremony and such. And it is... Yeah, so I've turned them into sacred objects. So, meaning they will shift you. You can't shift them. It's not a material object. It's like when you're in the presence of, thank you. Yeah, like if you were in the presence of people that find sacred objects in the Catholic Church or in the Vatican, right? They will say that there's power in them, right? Because it moves them because of the intention over time that it's meant to just connect with a higher realm, right? And every religion has their own artifacts and sacred objects, but we can do that with intention ourselves, right? Yeah. Object of power and sacredness. So
we did it. We talked for an hour about ourselves. I think we did so good.
Did we talk about why are you? I mean, did we say like why are you? What does like a healing session look like for you?
For me,
yeah.
So for my individual services, I feel like that's what Wendy's pulling through is. I'm going to say that I was a clinical therapist, a mental health therapist for years, and then was guided one day to integrate what I was doing with energy balancing into doing mental health. So I now have private practice that integrates mental health with the spiritual aspect of the unseeables. So, do I need to go into? So it's a 2-hour session, and it does include some mental health talking because we need to honor our thinking selves. We need to acknowledge our emotions. So I pulled that through for usually the first hour, and then the second hour is spent doing the healing part, the balancing. And I will speak a little bit about the healing because that was really a unique experience for me in that I was initially, I was attuned as a Reiki master. So I do have those credentials. And then at one point, I was asked to hold a different frequency. I mean, to integrate that, I don't want to say that I let that go because that's still, the Reiki still comes through. And then there was this angel, for lack of a better word, that came to me very loving, that said, Brenda, there's a new healing. Would you like to hold it? Would you like to be a part of this new wave of healing on the planet? And I said, yes. So that really began to change and shift everything. And I could remember how to do things. I could remember how to heal cells and balance out the unseeable parts of our soul. So that actually happened right when we opened the Indigo Doors. So these choices that Wendy and I made about how many years ago now? Like, I know we were trying to figure out how many years we've been open, but it's like been 5, 6 years, maybe. I don't know.
5.
Anyway, something like that.
5 years.
So once we began to make these choices and choosing ourselves and choosing this path, more and more stuff started coming to us, really, like gifts, miracles, right? And so again, we're so passionate about this because we know, we choose this for you, truly.
Yeah.
That's good.
That's good.
Okay, good. So.
Yeah, I mean, if I could describe it, let me describe it. Can I?
Yeah.
So those emotional things that like the emotional things that we all have to move through, the psychological, the understanding of the belief systems that we have in our heads. And that's the talking part, because that is important, to kind of figure out different ways of thinking, how to create a new life, how to create more happiness. There is a thinking component to that, and like breaking that down. into some of the belief systems. But then Brenda's able to integrate that energetically in ways that you can't necessarily, you can do on your own. And she definitely assists your body and taps into the body's own unique healing system, right? Because we all can heal ourselves, but she definitely helps you do that. And so she kind of integrates what you're talking about, but then allows your cells to kind of acclimate to that frequency as well. So I thought, there we go.
Yeah,
good.
Thanks. That was good. It's very good. I like it.
So,
what else? I'm looking at my notes.
And no questions. We thought people would be having some questions like, what's our zodiac signs? I don't know. No?
So I'm going to tell you something so personal because it's kind of funny to me. And I was talking about it with my kids earlier, is that I am not a morning person. So anyone who sees me in the morning, I mean, like you see me and I'm like, oh, I'm just here. And I'm like so nice and loving. And when I wake up in the morning, I'm like, no one talk to me. I mean, like everyone's like, and okay. Wendy, on the other hand, is like, oh my God.
Good morning. I'm singing. Good morning. Yeah.
And she's so lovely because if we ever are staying somewhere together and we wake up together, then she's gonna love me through my morning thing. And then, and I come out of it and she's like, okay, we're ready to talk now. And she's just so patient and loving about it, even though she's like, can I talk now? Can I go? It's funny. Just something fun.
Well, all right. Well, no questions. Okay. Well, I think we asked questions. I mean,
no, we did good. No, we did. We addressed everything that I wrote down. So we're good.
Good.
Nothing else. Okay, I'm not seeing anything else. So love to all of you. Thank you so much for watching, for being you, for just being a part of this journey. It's so much fun. And I wouldn't want to be here without you.
Yeah, we definitely, it's a symbiotic, we are very grateful for all of you, truly. We would not be able to do what we love to do without you. So.
Well, we couldn't be ourselves without each other, right? All of us, for sure. It seemed like you were going to say something else. Were you going to say something else?
When?
I don't know. It seemed like you tripped up. No?
No.
I was waiting for this
thinking.
Intellectual discourse of,
No.
Going to break down the science of it.
No.
The science of when two or more gather,
Ooh, good one, but no.
No?
We're wrapping up.
You could.
We're wrapping up.
Totally true. All right.
They want to go and start their Monday. So happy Monday. Let's have a great week. And if you guys have any questions,
we're going to do this again because we just want to have dialogue with everybody and talk more about these kinds of things. It's fun to us, honestly. It's fun.
All right.
Okay.
Peace and love.
Bye, everybody.
Bye.
Man, what the heck happened to